day. Welcome to Dusty and Dice. So, we're going to take a look at the expansion to the solo role playing game Colossal. The expansion is called the Roomlanders. Or, Roomlanders, shoot. The Roomlands. Man, got the title wrong right off the bat. This is going well. But I have to say up front, one, I was sent this book by the company that makes it, and let's see. And I spoke with the author, Nick Angel. He's an incredibly great dude, and he set it up so that I would get complimentary copies of this book, and that way I could share it with you. And so I have to make sure that y'all know that I was provided complimentary copies, or complimentary copy, so I can talk about it. Another thing is, this book is now included in the new core book to Colossal. Okay, my review of the Colossal core book, one of my pretty much my main drawback of that book was how thin it was, and it turns out that Nick Angel, the author here, he put together a new core book for Colossal, and he took the original core book and he took the Roomlands book, he put it together, and he added some more material or a couple other things. I had seen the new core rulebook at a local game store, and I actually emailed Nick and asked him, what is included in the new core rulebook. And so he let me know that, yes, the material in the Roomlands is now included in the Colossal core rulebook. So I just, the new Colossal core rulebook, it's got like holographic silver on the cover, on parts of the cover. I don't have it, otherwise I would show it. So if you get the new version of the Colossal core rulebook, you'll have the Roomlands inside of it. Okay, but we're going to take a look at the Roomlands anyway. And so what do we have in here? All right. So what is the Roomlands? What is this book? Return to the Roomlands of the Colossal. The Colossal, a massive castle with rooms so big that they contain mountains, oceans, and cities, continues infinitely in every direction. It's so much larger than any adventurer could have possibly known. And there's so much more to discover out there in the Roomlands. Welcome back to the Colossal. In this book, your adventure continues with 2 new classes, brand new kinds of rooms to explore featuring new and unique game mechanics, and the twisting streets of the city of Parapet. Additionally, become entranced with the development of the lore and mythos of the Colossal as you learn more about its great mysteries, with a guided single-player campaign that takes you on an adventure deep under the sea for the legendary Sea Stone. Where will your adventure in the Roomlands take you? So that's what the back says. Let's flip it open, make sure I'm in frame here. All right. So, table of contents. Introduction, classes, locations, life in the Colossal, combat, search for the Sea Stone. Now, I'm going to let you know up front that I'm not going to do spoilers for Search for the Sea Stone. We're going to take like a look at the first page, and that's it. So if you plan on getting this book and playing through Search for the Sea Stone, you're golden, man. I'm not going to do any spoilers here. But, all right, so let's start to dig in. It tells you how to use this book, what you're going to need. Because this is an expansion, you're going to need the Colossal Core Rulebook, or if you have the new version of the Colossal Core Rulebook, this is already in your book. Just letting you know. So this is the extended world of Colostle. It's letting you know that it's going to talk about the rafters and the crackways, and we'll talk about that more when that comes up. Here's one of the new classes, the Allied. So you're two adventurers that are adventuring together. Uh, that doesn't mean two players. It just means that you're two adventurers adventuring together, and it's got some interesting rules to that. The Bastion is like a person-sized rook that you can play as, which is also pretty interesting. Now this is cool. The Tundra Room is uh, a room of the Colossal that is obviously like tundra, and it has what I like about what Colossal has done here is given the Tundra Room like its own culture and its own feel. I really like that, and uh, you're going to help villages, and it has its own encounter table. I'm trying not to show too much of his work. Village events and making Tundra Room characters that you might run into, and there's a whole new thing that you can do. It's essentially well, it's called Rooknauts. It's essentially like piloting like almost a mech in your Colossal game, but you're going to need a crew, and so it tells you how you're going to build your crew, your Rooknaut crew, and you're going to pilot this like Rook mech, and you can even fight Rooknaut versus Rooknaut, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like whole new way to play the game, and whole new subsystem in there. Thought that was really cool. Some new rewards. There is a legendary item. Next is the rafters. Look at that artwork. Love it. Love it. So the rafters are mentioned a little bit in the Colossal main book. Uh, it talks about how the gargoyles live in the rafters and that they carry some people up there. Doesn't really say too much other than that. Now you have the rafters fleshed out, so you can actually go and adventure in the rafters, and it shows you the three different types of gargoyles and what they're like to interact with. So it's pretty cool that you can now adventure in the rafters. Some rafter encounter tables. And then there's the crackways. The crackways are cracks between rooms in the Colossal. So this might be a quick way to get from like the Tundra room to a different room. Some crackways are safe, and other crackways not so safe. So that's pretty interesting. Quick way to navigate through room or to different rooms, and that has its own encounter table as well. This is biomes that you might end up in the Colossal. Everything from ocean to jungle to plains to rocklands to swamp to mountains. It gives you a little kind of description and then what gameplay might be like in that biome. So that's pretty cool. After that is introducing the great city of Parapet. Now, as you can see, here's the great city. It was, a giant rook, like legendary giant rook, way back in the day. It's now, uh, you know, not functional. It's made into a city. Um, Now, in the Colossal Core rulebook, it tells you how to generate a city. Almost randomly. Um, Parapet is the one place which is like set. This is, this is what's in Parapet, and that's for a reason. There's the Rook Nest, which is like a tavern, and then it has its own encounters table for the Rook's Nest. The Hunters Guild that's in Parapet has its own tables. This is what Parapet looks like, and it's split amongst districts, and then what the districts are like. And you have encounter tables. You have tables for each of the districts. And so the reason why Parapet is kind of set in stone is because Colossal is a solo role playing game. However, if you wanted to add a little bit of a community aspect to it, Parapet is how you do it. You would go on the Discord, and everybody is that is exploring or adventuring in Parapet is exploring and adventuring in the same districts that you are, and they're experiencing things on the same tables and everything as you are. So you, even though you all are playing um, separately and by yourselves, you have somewhat of a shared story going on, in that you are adventuring in the same um, location, and it's kind of a static location, and um, and then you could go on the Discord and share your stories, or even, you know, include other people into your story. Like if there's another person on the Discord and you meet them in the Rook's Nest, and something happens, well, um, even though this is a solo role playing game, you just included that other person into your game, and you're included into their game, and that would be recorded in your journal and in their journal. So it brings a bit of a community aspect to a solo role playing game. Kind of an interesting concept. Next is Rook Homes. You can take out a rook in a certain way. Or no. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You take out a rook in a certain way, and and then you can turn the rook into your rook home, which is kind of like a traveling base, if you will. But it takes upkeep. It kind of breaks down, and you got to keep this thing kind of cobbled together. Next is oracles. I really hate the term oracles because it reminds me of divination, and I'm not a fan of divination in real life. But in game terms, oracles is just the shorthand, or the name that's been given to, like, tables or ways of figuring out yes no answers and that sort of thing, like going all the way back to Mythic GM Emulator. But oracles has become the shorthand, and so that's what it's called, and that's not Nick Angel's fault or anything. So yeah, oracles. There's a yes no table. Well, a little bit more to it, but essentially a yes no table, an NPC generator table, a story generator table. So it's really cool that these emulators are included, in case you want to kind of go off the beaten path of the encounter tables. Now this is really cool, especially if, say, you have a good friend who's into the setting, or that you hang out with a lot, or a significant other, a wife, a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend that likes to role play or journal, and they wouldn't mind trying it with you. This is two-player co-op rules for Colossal. So now you're playing a solo role-playing game with another person, not really solo anymore, but uh, it's still cool, and the Colossal setting is really cool, and so it gives you rules on two-player exploration and two-player combat. It gives you an example, and then there's a two-player oracle, and then complications, and complication tables that just adds a little spice to playing two-player. And then there's a page of rules on fighting within a rook, like if you wanted to attack the rook from the inside. How that combat works, the rules for that. After that is the Search for the Sea Stone campaign. It kind of gives you the rundown on how it's going to work, and like the different areas, and how those are going to play out, and knowing when to turn the page, which I think is really cool. So this is what I wanted to well, I'll get to that in just a moment. Starting this adventure module, you can tie if you have the Colossal main book, at least the first version of it, you chose a calling, and this gives you a way to tie the adventure, this adventure or this campaign to your calling that you took at character creation, which I think is awesome. They've figured out how to tie it to your character, and then it gives you the starting scene, and I'm not going to go any further than this, but this is what I love. You don't turn the page to read the next part of the adventure until you've met this condition. Super easy, but also super genius, because if you play an adventure module but you play it solo, normally what happens is you have to read ahead and then play your character like they don't know what you just read. This is a way around that. You read, it sets the scene, you do whatever you have to do, and then once you've met the prerequisites, then you get to turn the page and read the next part of the story. I really like that. All right, so pros and cons. Let's talk about some pros and cons. Pros to this. Well, you get 2 new classes. I love the Tundra Room, how fleshed out it is, how different it is, the cultures in it, the Rook Knot rules. I thought that was all pretty cool. The rafters and the crackways. The rafters, I really want to explore the rafters. I thought that seemed really really cool. And the gargoyle nests and everything that's up there. The crackways, they seem interesting. I might explore 1 or 2. And the and then so yeah, the fact that you got classes, the new locations to explore. I like that the yes no oracles and things have been included. I love that there's 2-player co-op rules. And then I love that there's a short campaign, or that there's a campaign included right in here, so that like you can really just jump right into the action if you wanted to, or you could generate everything by yourself. However you want to do it, it's your story, your journal. Do it up. So those are the things I really liked. Things that maybe I thought could use a little more work, or maybe wasn't top on my list of things that I really cared for. I wish that the biomes of the Colossal was expanded out, because it's just like a 2-page spread, kind of giving you an idea of what these things might be like. I also realized that the Tundra Room information was 10 pages. You couldn't do 10 pages on each one of these biomes, and and unless it was like a book by itself. So I also realized that there's a page count, and you kind of got to stick to things. So I realized practically it's not practical to think that each one of these would be fleshed out very well, or like fully. But doesn't mean that I don't want it. Like I would want to see those biomes fleshed out. The great city of Parapet. I mean, I don't mind adventuring in a city, even one that's already pre-planned out. But I'm not really interested in the community aspect. That's just me. I'm not going to go on Discord and have conversations with people and then put it into my journal and stuff like that. That's just not my thing. That might be other people's thing. That's cool. Let's see. The Rook homes, I might try that out. I don't know. But that's about it. That's the, like, when it comes to cons, that's pretty much what I had for cons. I mean, I would. No, this one's still. It's not a bad page count. I mean, what are we looking at? Oh, 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 oh! I don't want to show that. Oh, we have another character sheet in here. Let's see. So yeah, the adventure ends on what, 85. Yeah. So it's. I think it's larger than the original core rulebook. So I think there's a lot of pros to it, a couple cons, but uh, nothing world ending, earth shaking. Who is this for? This is for anybody that enjoys solo role playing games, those who already have Colossal and want to expand upon their game and get a lot more hours of entertainment. If you have, like I said, if you have the new core rulebook, then you already have this, and that's awesome. I didn't talk about it, but the artwork is absolutely beautiful through this whole thing. There is, these full page spreads as well as the black and white artwork. So yeah, that is the Colossal Roomlands. Who is this not for? Well, if you're not into solo role playing games, well, obviously this wouldn't be for you. You probably don't even have the Colossal core rulebook. If you played Colossal and it's just not your game, then this wouldn't be for you because this is an expansion. If you know what, I would say that's the people that this is not for. I think it's a good expansion, and I think it's awesome that Nick Angel, the writer and illustrator of Colossal, included it in the core rulebook, the new version. I think it's awesome. So that's my spotlight of the Roomlands, and y'all can leave any comments that you have or questions in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And y'all know the deal. It's Dusty and Dice. Hey, grab some friends and roll some dice, bruh. Now, how do I end this thing? Oh.